Wanted to thank you for coming in early at 8:15. We'll try and have you guys ready to rock by 9. So I've been doing all the dealerships, just kind of getting out, seeing everybody, talking to you guys, getting you guys to start thinking about next year, 2022. And I've kind of just done a few little things. We could probably list 20, 25, but I wanted to talk about, in my experience, 7 key ingredients of a really good recipe for top performing salespeople that I've seen, not just in this industry, but in any industry. And we'll kind of go through it. I think some of these you guys might be good at, but I think everybody can level up. You know, they can go to the next level on every single one of them. And that's what my goal is, you know, when I come in here and talk to you guys, it's to challenge you to really reflect and to find things that you guys can go to the next level on, and then put a plan together to start executing them properly, right? So. Should include some of these things as far as what you want to talk about, you know, identify your numbers, you know, and when you're doing goal setting, always have your end goal too. Like, what's your end goal? What's the big thing? And then you identify mini goals, and you really write them out. And then what I'd like to do, once you are prepared, because I did this with someone, I did this at all the other dealerships, and I'm doing Kia or Nissan on Saturday, but one guy, like 10 minutes after the meeting, says, I've already got mine done. And then so I made an appointment with him yesterday, and it wasn't done. It was like generic, sell more cars, right? That's not a goal to me. That's not setting your goals properly. So I said, hey man, like, I'm the president of the company. I'm going to put some time together and sit down with you and spend 15 to 30 minutes, but put some thought into it. And don't just tell me what I want to hear. Write down key ingredients that, hey, these are the things that I know I got to do at a higher level. These are the things I'm really good at. This is how I'm going to put them in an action plan. This is my end goal of what I want to make, and these are some personal goals that I want to do for me and my family. And this is my end goal. This is where I see myself in 3 years, 5 years, whatever that end game is. And then that's a real proper meeting, because then I can add insight. Then I can say, okay, these are some things that I'm noticing. These are some things that I would, from my experience, would give you. Because I'm the second oldest in the room, but you could say I am the wisest, Keith. But maybe he'd debate that. But anyway, my point is that you know, I will. Every single person that wants to sit down with me, I'm not going to reach out to you in 45 days and say, hey, Jared, are we doing that? That's up to you. I'm throwing it out there. In the next 30 to 45 days, if you want to sit down with me for 30 minutes and go through your next year's plan, then I won't chase you. I'll never ask you again. But if you send me an email, and Jessica, we will put it in my schedule, and then I will have you come down to my office in a set time, and we will 100% go through it. Okay? Is that fair? So that's kind of the segue to what the meeting's about. So I just want to talk a little bit. So this one says daily plan, and how do you start? And I'll kind of make it a little bit of an analogy. You know, Cam, do you put your socks on before your pants, or your pants on before your socks? Okay, so that's a good habit. But when you think about some of our habits from when we start our day, generally they're from a childhood. They're from, like, we've been doing the same things for years, right? I do the opposite. I have this terrible bad habit where I get completely dressed, hair and everything, and then I put my socks on last. And when I was thinking about it this morning, I thought to myself, why have I always done that? That just seems ludicrous to me. Not only that, half of the time I have psoriasis, so I put sometimes salve on, you know, down there, and then my socks aren't on yet, so then I go to put my socks on, and then you'll see I have a stain on my pants sometimes. I'm like, what a dumb habit, right? Not only do I don't put my socks on first, I also have a reason to, and I continue not to do it. Do you kind of get my analogy here? So when we're thinking about our daily plan, and I put how do you start, and we drill down on top performing salespeople, chances are sometimes the way we're starting might not be the best habits. And I'll give you some examples, like, you know, when we start work at I don't know what the shift starts here. Is it 8:30, 8:45? So 8:45, you know, and don't get me wrong, guys. When I'm saying things, it's not because I haven't been there with you. Okay, today I'm not going to give you earth-shattering like, wow, that was just unbelievable. I'm going to be talking about things you already know, but just kind of maybe it's a refresher. But how about this one? How about getting to work at 8:45, and then we spend an hour figuring out what we're going to eat. What are we all having, guys, today? What is it? What McDonald's, A&W, breakfast sandwiches. And then from that takes us to 9:30 to 9:45. And then we really don't start to be productive till, 9:45, 10 o'clock. Okay. And then, or how about this one? How about this one? And some of you that are married, and chances are sometimes this is where one of the spouses is a morning person, the other one isn't. And it's like you have this thing. Well, and some of my family is non-morning, or they'll kind of generalize I'm not a morning person, right? But and I guess how I challenge them is like, if you're going to go through life and say I'm not a morning person, so please don't talk to me till I'm 11 in the morning, and my brain doesn't get activated till 11, and then I'm going to start being real productive and really drill down, then I want you to think about that. Is that really a good habit? How about you go to bed earlier? How about you get up earlier? How about you have your breakfast before you get to work? How about you make sure when you get here that you're 100% productivity? Because when you think about it, what if, what I find in the car business, and I find it in any work, and like I said, I've been there, guys. I've done all the bad habits that you can possibly think of. But one thing I do know that is if I took the first part of my day and leveled up and made it more productive, and I took the last part of the day at work, so for you guys it's 5 to 6, and I really focused on those 2 hours, how would that affect me in my results? How would that affect me in my success? And so when I really challenge you guys, it's, what are some ways that you're starting in your day? Part of our sales process in our playbook, I'm sure that all you've read it from line by line, right? But one of the things is there's the daily game plans, right? And the reason why we do the daily game plans is because I wanted to make sure that the manager and the salesman went through the leads together with an undivided focus on it. But really, if that's your game plan, that's probably not what I had in mind. Just leave it. Yeah. I'm only here once every 5 or 6 months, so. Okay. So my point is, guys, that, are we, the game plan, one of the best practices, and Brent from, and I went kind of around the room what everyone did, and one of the things Brent said, and I thought it was a really good example, is he said, how I start my day is I reflect on the previous day. So he goes through all the things, what did I accomplish today, and then he starts that day. What I personally do is I have a task pad and I write down 7 or 8 different things that I got to do. And I make sure that I look at them. So if I got to meet with Mike, or I got to do some things, or I have some scheduled things. And then I also have, like in business, we have what's called Kpis. So they're key performer indicators. So for me as a business, I have all these departments, and I've identified 3 or 4 in each department that I need to make sure that they're hitting on. But you as a salesperson should have your own. You should have 3 or 4 key performing indicators that you need to do every single day. And that should be written down on your daily plan. So Robert, if we were to identify some KPIs for a salesperson, give me one that you think would be a prime example of one.
Follow-ups.
Okay, so we're going to make some calls, we're going to follow up and go through, our plan. So what I really challenge you those, and I was there, I was 20 some years old, and I had a really good skill set. I was like this master closer, I thought, and I didn't think I needed to write everything down. And then as we get wiser, we start doing things different. And now I look at it the night before, I look at it during the day, I look at it before I leave for the day, and then I start the next day if anything I missed. But so do you have that list going where you can write down things? Okay. Cam, what's another thing that we could write as our salesperson KPI?
Can you re-say what KPI was?
So it's a key performer indicator. So it's basically what are some things that you need to do every single day to be successful as a salesperson?
Okay. Just keeping touch on my VIN and taking notes more and just really knowing what I have from the day before to follow up on the next day.
Okay, he already said that one.
Okay.
If you daydream, I'll catch you guys.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll come back to you.
Okay.
I was just going to say for a young guy like Cam.
Say it for yourself, don't say it for him.
Okay, I was just going to suggest product knowledge. Even for me,
Okay.
In finance, product knowledge is key, and I'm always trying to up the game.
So improve, would that follow under this one? Improve skill set?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science, I've listed 3 or 4 here, guys.
I can't see that one.
Jared?
Check inventory.
Check inventory. So A, improve my skill set, but I have a thing, and that would be one if I was a salesperson and say, like, know my inventory, go for a lot walk. Okay, Mike?
You know what, my big thing always has been, I know it's number 2, but mindset. So I like to start on a positive note. So you always gonna have that heat to deal with, that tough situation to deal with. But if you start your day, I always start with fresh leads, fresh messages, fresh emails, fresh customers. So when you engage with them for the first part of your morning, you're in a positive mindset. It's a fresh relationship. It's a fresh call. They're looking for a car. They're looking for your services. And you get to start positive. And then when you jump into the more tough stuff, you're already in that positive mindset. And it comes across in your voice, how you act and how you react to things.
Keith, what's a good KPI? You've been in the business many years.
Just be happy, be positive.
Be positive, so right under mindset, right? That's a big one. But what I challenge you guys, and like I said, I'm not going to be here for 2 hours talking to you. We're going to try and get through a lot in 45 minutes. But my goal is that I challenge you guys to really drill down on some things that you can level up on. So the daily plan, just following up on it, is write it down. Write it down, and I would like you guys to have, in a perfect world, to have your day timers already done. And at 9 o'clock, like a bad habit would be for a car dealership is that Mike is doing a game plan for Cam at noon. It doesn't say midday plan, right? A perfect habit for both the salesperson and the manager is that they have already reviewed what the plan is going to be for the day in the first 30 minutes, first hour. So like there's 3 of you, there's 4 of you, from 9 to 10, we should try and have them all done. And Eric, if we know we got going on, that's when you got to step in and help Mike, right? And say, hey, can I take one? Let's talk about yesterday, let's do it, right? And the goal should be as a manager and as a dealership and you guys, does the manager have to come and say, hey, Robert, can you get your game plan done? Let's get on it. Or should it be the other thing? And one of the best practices of Brent is, and I don't want to always talk to him because, everybody has their strengths, but one of the things that he is mastered on the daily plan is that game plan book. He goes through it 3 to 5 times a day with the manager. He makes them completely accountable. So he's the first guy there to make sure that he gets in first. Then he's touching them at noon, he's doing a second period, then he's touching them at 2 or 3, and he's always saying, hey, what about this? Can you phone me? He's in the finance office, he's talking to them all. So he has all his leads, all his internet, he's always working at. He's just, he'd be really good at that part. There's some other things that he knows he has to level up on here, but he's really, really mastered that daily game plan and that daily plan throughout the day, and making sure that he's using his manager and making sure that they're brainstorming about how they can be productive for that day constantly. So the one thing on here, both Mike and the team, is I'd really challenge you guys is let's really start a lot better. And then that first hour, let's just make sure that we know that that one KPI is done. We've reviewed everything. We're ready to go. And then you'll find that throughout the day, and staying with ending at the real strong at the end of the day, going to the bell, right? Mike, who's your favorite player in hockey?
Well, it changes almost
Who? Connor Garland. Okay. When do you think Connor Garland gets to the rink before a game?
I guarantee early, and I guarantee he stays late. Gets full
Okay. Would he ever jump on the ice without a stick that's taped?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. So I want you guys to think of the analogy. The most successful people generally start their day in whatever they're doing, ready to rock, focused on what they're trying to accomplish that day. I mean, we can use professional athletes as an example, but think about it. Like everybody knows, Tom Brady's on Instagram all the time. He's always going to the stadium 2 or 3 hours before the game. He's always doing some posts, but he's also watched tons of film of the other team. He's also prepared, what he's got to do, everything, and then when he steps on, he's ready to rock. So on this one, guys, I'd really, really challenge you guys to think about and reflect on how can I be more productive during the day? How am I starting? What bad habits do I have right now that I could change? So I want to go through the room real quick. Keith, is there a bad habit in the morning in the first hour that you think that might... I'll give you an example. Some people grab their phone within the first minute. When you really think about it, it's probably not the smartest thing. It's probably not the smartest thing to be on your phone within the first 2 or 3 minutes. Like, for example, monks, how they start their day is they sleep in a tent. They meditate for an hour before they even interact with anyone. They roll up their little tent, they have a little pillow, they put their tent away. You know what I mean? But, all of us, and I've done it, is like, oh, ding, 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 grab our phone, start looking at stuff that's probably not the best way to get our brain going. Keith? Is there a bad habit that you think that you might be able to improve on the first hour?
I'm trying to sleep, to tell you the truth, in more. I get up at 5:30 sometimes, bouncing off the wall,
Okay.
ready to go. So
Okay.
I want to stay in bed till 6:30.
Okay.
Sometimes I can't.
Robert?
To tell you the truth.
Anything that stands out?
Probably would be for me, maybe on touching on the mindset thing where
Okay.
I got a bunch of kids at home. I'm kind of worried about them still at that
Okay.
point in time, right?
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
that would probably be my.
Cam?
Definitely the phone, getting distracted on the phone and
Okay.
leaving stuff at the door, kind of like Rob said. When I
Okay.
come in here, I should just focus on work and
Okay.
keep my emotions there.
Mike?
I have a really bad habit. I always forget the lunch my wife packed me. So then she either drops it off if she can, or I have to order lunch, and then she'll show up with the lunch that she packed, and I have to kind of like pretend I ate it. So just being, we get up a little earlier, have breakfast at home, and like kind of leave the house ready to go to work instead of just getting here and then trying to start the day. Kind of like you said, get here like you're stepping on the field and you're prepared. So getting
Nice.
up a little earlier and
Nice.
a little more control in the morning.
Eric?
I've always been an early morning person. I'm up 5:15 every day, ready to go, structured.
Yeah.
But during that time, I think I spent too much time watching the news and stuff, and I could be, you took mine away, preparing my lunch for the day or doing a few different things.
Okay.
I waste a lot of time in the morning because I'm up so early.
Okay. Jared?
Just don't really eat breakfast in the morning.
Oh,
Probably
yeah.
something I should.
Need some fuel, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the next one, mindset. This is a really big one, right? We all have all these distractions, and you said the news and all these other things, like probably not helping our brain. What would be something right now when we talk about mindset and focus on the things you can control? What would be one right now for the business, the auto industry, that might be coming up in your head a little bit, Robert? Lack of inventory. Ding, 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 ding. So when you think about it, though, but and that's where, that's why I kind of wanted to come out and talk to everyone, really. I mean, because I can understand how we've got good people at every store, and how them worrying about everything and thinking about this, and what I would really challenge you, like if you're spending a lot of time worrying about that, and it's taking up space in your brain, it's probably not helping you focus on the other KPI things that you can control, which is like pipeline, all these other things. The inventory, quite honestly, is myself and Mike's job, and Jordan's job, and we're on it. We talk behind the scenes. We're trying to maximize anything we can do, and that type of thing. So you guys drilling down and worrying about that, obviously it's in peace of mind, but if you're spending a lot of time, how am I gonna make a living? We don't have an inventory in that. Like I say this to all the time, if you think about I'm only going to sell 6 cars. I'm only going to sell 6 cars. I'm only going to sell 6 cars. I only have 15 units. I only have this. I only have that. I'm only going to sell this. I'm only going to sell that. What do you think is going to happen? Right? So, so this is a bit of a reset on things, you know. Focus on the things you can control. So the things that you guys can control is that daily plan and writing down the KPIs of the things that you guys can execute at a real high level. And then if you do that and you're focused on it, chances are everything will come into play, right? So this is a real big one. We have distractions outside of work. We have all kinds of personal stuff going on. And sometimes it's a challenge not to be thinking about that. But when you really reflect and think, you know what, I say this all the time, I said, you know, unless you're at 90%, you shouldn't be here. If you got something that's really you're thinking about out especially when you're a leader. I challenge leaders all the time. I just say, you're my coach, man. If you're not 100%, get out of there, man. And I really challenge the leaders and the coaches that they gotta be, you know, it's like the coach has to be making sure he's focused on the KPIs more than anyone. So even for myself, you know, I have lots of things going on at all given time. And if I started focusing on distracting and not running my business and being sharp, then that would trickle down to Mike and all the other GMs and GSMs and all that. So, you know, what I like to really challenge people is when you write out that plan for the day, make sure you identify, hey, proper mindset, what my KPIs are, that, how did I start? That would be a good one, you know. And, you know, I always say in hockey, like, you know, when I coached hockey and I coached at a bit of a high level, we always used to talk about how we started. That first shift is really important, guys. You know, we want to get it down low. We want to have the puck in their end. Doesn't matter if we score, but we want to really start that shift off properly, and get in there and work real hard that first shift, and set the tone for the game. If these two we don't have done really well, it's going to be really hard to execute throughout the day. We're going to be easily distracted. We're going to get off track. We're going to do all kinds of things that won't get us. So, and the daily plan, I say this to the managers all the time, is, you know, the leads and the day timer is just one part of a daily plan. It's just talking about customers and leads. The big thing is, hey, how's our head? Are we focused on hitting these KPIs? How did we do yesterday? Is there any we missed? Okay, let's talk about that. Then let's go through the leads. But, you know, that's really what a daily plan is. And that's why I kind of want the managers and the salespeople to spend that time. It shouldn't be just about the leads. It should be like, hey, are you focused? Where are we at? How'd you do yesterday? How can we execute better today? Anything that, you know, we didn't do well yesterday? What did we do best yesterday? And we're really focused on that. So that's a real big one. This one, okay, so this one, more interaction now. So we'll start off with Jared. Jared, tell me if you had to pick one thing, like I'll give you an example, Alexander Ovechkin in hockey. He has one skill set that he's better than everyone else at. He lines up mid-hash, especially on the power play. Everybody in the crowd, everybody on the ice, the goalie, everybody knows that it's going to him. He has the quickest release, and he still scores goals left and right, and no one can stop him because he's mastered that shot, right? That's his best skill set, is that quick release shot, slap shot, or snap shot. He's best in the game with that particular skill set. Using that analogy in your job right now, what would you say is your best skill set?
When I first talk to a customer, I'm really good at building fast and quick rapport.
Building rapport? Okay, I like it. Eric?
Yeah, for me, it's just, it's customer service. It's
Okay.
rapport. It's being able to, make them melt in front of them. Just get them to love me,
Okay.
love our product, and close them quickly.
Okay, I like it. Robert?
I'd say the same thing. It's the name of the game is to get to know your customer right away, know their wants and needs, and know why they're here, and sell them a quality product.
Okay. Cam?
Still pretty new in the business, but I find that I'm really good at greeting people when they come in the door. I do sit right at the door, so just helping people out, and I'm getting a lot better at finding out what they need. So.
Okay, Mike?
I'm always really good, and as a manager, I think my best skill is getting the best out of people as individuals, not as a collective, but everyone's different. And the second thing I'd add in that is helping them solve their problems, their heat, things that are distracting them from the positivity they need to do their job as a high level as a salesperson, and let them know they're not alone in that heat. We're together, solve it together quickly, and let's move on to good stuff.
Nice. Keith?
Negotiating.
Negotiating? Yeah. Closing? Okay. It's funny, like back in the day, and I dated myself, and I'm dating myself again, but people ask me all the time how long I've been in the business. So I started selling when I was 18. I'm 52 now. So, you know, my skill set when I was 18 is different than my skill set now, you know, at 30 some years more in the business. But back in the time, it was like I could say, hey, I'm the best closer. I just relied on that natural ability of selling, you know, that sometimes we have, which is good to have, but it's so much more than that now, right? Does anybody know what I'm going to ask next? What's that? Okay. All right. Ding, ding, ding. You win the prize in Jeopardy today. Okay. And sometimes people have a hard time identifying their weakness because of their egos, right? The most successful people know their weaknesses, they're written down on their game plans, and they focus on it daily. Because a weakness is not knowing your weakness, to be honest with you. And someone said yesterday, I asked them what their, and I was surprised. It was someone, and I was shocked that he said it when I did this at Kia. And he said, you know, my ego is my weakness. I was like, okay, good. Thank you for acknowledging it. Because it's no point in me, I could give you my perception of all your weaknesses. I could go around the room right now and tell you one or two things that I don't think you're as good at as you could be. But that's not the point. The point is for you guys to know your skill set weaknesses. So, Eric, we'll start with you.
Well, this is the same one that I've had, I think, my whole career. Is I used to let something negative, I would dwell on it all day long. And now, over the last 20 years, I've shortened that gap. So now it might take me only an hour to get over whatever negativity, and I'm continuing to close that gap. But that's something I've always struggled with.
Okay, so emotional response?
Emotional response.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Jared?
I get lazy. Oh, customers coming in about 5 hours. I get out about 3 hours.
Okay. Procrastinating?
Yeah.
Okay. Robert?
I'm gonna have to say I'm too nice sometimes.
Okay. People pleasing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. That can be a strength, but it can also be negative
Exactly,
if it's
yeah,
you,
for sure.
you know, if you don't know how to channel
Kind
it.
of bite me in the ass.
Cam?
I'm going to say product knowledge and just knowing what I have to show and just being able to point out certain features and really
Okay.
working on it, but it's just, yeah.
Okay.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes from that. Not the best at taking criticism.
Okay.
Why is everyone laughing?
No, I mean it's a big one, right? I mean it's if you want to grow, you have to be able to take criticism and learn from it, right?
It's
So,
a safe space, right?
but you know, I have lots of ego stories that I have regrets over of just why, you know, just not knowing what I know now, and yeah. Keith?
Listening to people.
Listening. Okay. Cool. So on this one, guys, improve your skill set. We have, you know, these KPIs that we're talking about that are really important. And you guys identified a couple of them, but, you know, in this goal setting that I'm asking you to do, both big picture and mini goals, you know, everyone likes to focus on all the things they're best at. I mean, I could have a meeting and we take up hours, everyone telling me, especially managers, how great they are at certain things. Like I'd just be able to just like sit back and listen, tell me all the things they're good at. And I bet you I could have 3 or 4 hour meetings. But if I reverse it and say, tell me all the things you're not good at, it'd be like a 5-minute meeting with some people. And that would be like a struggle to even make it that long. Okay? So, you know, the top most successful people, not just salespeople, but anywhere in any field, need to spend more time on their skill sets that they're not good at. And the first thing is identifying them. Now, you guys said one, but chances are there's more than that. I mean, we all know the things we're good at, but what are the things you're not good at? Write them down on your game plan, you know, and start focusing them on a daily basis. Make sure that yearly plan that you're having, which is the 2022 one, and hopefully at the big top right-hand side, it's the end game, which I always say, if you don't have an end goal, you know, maybe it's buying a house, maybe it's owning your own dealership. That used to be mine. My first end goal was having my first dealership, right? And that drove me, that was part of my drive. But then it changed, right? Because I got one and I was just like, you know, and it's a moving picture now, it changes. But, you know, have that big one on next year's plan. And I really challenge you to make sure you've written down the things that you need to improve on. Because I have a feeling you're not going to be able to get there as quick as if you really knew what your weaknesses are and started focusing on them daily. Because it's okay, a lot of us will know our weakness. The difference is most successful people focus on them, right? And they actually, hey, this is my plan to be better at this. You know, like we'll talk about a few of them, like, you know, I wrote down pipeline, we're going to go into it, but the best, most successful salespeople are always working their pipeline. And we're not talking about tomorrow. That's the easy one. Anyone can focus on tomorrow's pipeline. We're talking about 30 days, 45 days, a year from now, all these other things. You know, referrals and repeats. You know, when it gets slow, do you have all these people that you've sold a car to networking for you? The referrals and repeats, you know? If I'm a salesperson and I don't have pipeline and referrals and repeats as one of my best things, I might want to look at that. If I don't have social media and technology as one of my best things, I might want to look at that, considering that the entire industry has completely revolutionized. I mean, Tesla, the #1 automaker in the world, is a software company. So if you're not on the technology aspect in any position in my company, check yourself, because it's going to pass you by. You know, I look at myself 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I had a clipboard and a Rolodex. That's how I followed up people. You think cold calling, Cam? You're not good at cold calling? Well, what if I threw you a phone book and said start at A? You get B, you get C. Now we have software. Now we have CRMs, now we have data, we have all these things. You know, so these are a big thing. So on these improve the skill set, you know, it's good to know what you're good at, but really, really reflect after this meeting. And when I sit down with you, I don't want a 1-minute meeting about the things you're not good at. I want you to actually have thought about it and really identify the things that you could go to the next level on, right? Because there's no point in goal setting is if I say, hey, Robert, this is what I think you should do. This is how many cars you should do. And I tell managers all the time, it's not your job to set their goals for them. It's your job to mentor them to put a good goal together. It's no good for me to say, hey, Mike, this is what I think your goal should be. It's Mike's job to tell me what he thinks his goal should be, and then I can add insight and help him get there. Do you kind of get where I'm coming from? So my challenge to you guys is on your goals is I'd like to see a lot of things you're not good at. Because I could have went around the room and said all the things that you were good at for you. I already know them. I wouldn't be good at my job if I didn't know everyone's strengths. But I also know everyone's weaknesses really well. But my point is getting you guys to focus on them. That's what my job is. I want you to get to level up on certain things, right? So you guys get where I'm coming from on this one? Okay, next one, pipeline. So the best salespeople are working their pipeline. And I said 30, 60, 90, 120 days. So, I mean, this is, like I said, you're not going to hear anything revolutionary today. But when you think about it, how good are we at pipelining? And most of the dealerships that I've done these meetings at all knew that they had a couple more levels to do. They knew that, you know what, we're really good at maybe 2 or 3 days out, but we're not good on our sold customers, for instance. You know, have we set it up to really work the referral program properly? You know, on an internet lead that we haven't had anyone respond to, do we have a pipeline process where we're talking to them in 7 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 30 days, 45 days? What about 3 months and we haven't heard a response? Do we have a pipeline process that maybe that is reaching farther? Because those are the ones that are going to happen. And you know, those of you that, I think everyone was at the bamboo story, right? The bamboo meeting that I had. And then the ones that weren't at the meeting, I think you watched the video. But if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. But basically, the analogy of the story was that a bamboo tree, does everyone remember the story? What was the story, Eric?
Well, you have to nurture that seed under the ground for probably 5 years.
Yeah. So basically the concept of the bamboo tree is that you have to water it every day. It never sprouts up, it never sees a leaf. It's growing underneath the ground. And then on the 7th year, it grows 9 feet tall. And if you miss watering it at all, it will die underneath the ground. It's the same thing as working your pipeline. Sometimes you're not going to see any fruit. You're not going to see, it's not going to happen. You reached out to this customer 3, 5, 7, 10 times. You haven't seen anything yet. And then all of a sudden, boom, a little leaf's going to come open. It's the same thing with the referral program, right? We know we have this referral program where when they buy the car, we're supposed to say, hey, within 5, you know, a large percentage of my customers made it repeats and referrals, Mike. You know, is there anyone you know, a friend, a family member, a coworker that might be interested in a vehicle in the next 3 months? Can't think of anyone right now? No problem. Can I call you in about 5 days to see how your vehicle's working? And then touch base with you? And then I put it in my Outlook, in my technology that does everything for me, that I'm on board with, because I know I don't want to be a dinosaur because they're extinct. So now I'm really focused on technology to help me do everything. So then I put in there, call Mike Monday at 11. Then guess what I do at 11, Mike? I call him because I had a reminder 50 minutes before in my Outlook that said call Mike. Then I called him and said, hey Mike, there was lots going on when you picked up your car. How's it going? How's everything going? And I want to challenge you, some of you salespeople, and I said it to every single one of you. A lot of salespeople are scared to call people back because they're afraid that they might have to do something. That's the wrong way of looking at it. If you can help a customer and solve their problem, then you earn future business. Yeah. So customer service is all about that. So I always challenge people. Yes, make those calls. Well, hey, I heard a rattle. No problem. I'll get someone to look at it. And I get some of the challenges here not having a tech, but we're working on that. But I'm just saying, don't stop doing your job because of it. But then I'm going to call him at 5 days, and guess what he's going to say to me? I'm going to say, hey, Mike, you know, we talked when you bought the vehicle about you buying a vehicle. Have you had a chance to think about, you know, a friend, a family member, a coworker, a circle of influence since then? And chances are he's going to say no, right? No, you know what? I haven't had a chance to think about it. No problem, Mike. Customer service is my #1 priority. Would it be okay if I gave you a call in 30 days? See how your vehicle's going? Right here. Would it be okay if I called you in 30 to 45 days? Yes, perfect. Just a sec, let me put it in my technology Outlook. 30, 45 days, call Mike. Retallick, have out the list of the thing. Guess what happens 15 minutes before, Robert? I get a reminder. Then I call Mike and say, hey Mike, remember when I called you 30 days ago? Just want to know how your vehicle's working. Plus, remember we talked about our referral program? I wanted to put you on my payroll because so many customers are taking advantage of it. And you mentioned that you could use some extra cash. Is there anybody you might know, 30, 45, or is there anyone you might know, a friend, a family member, blah, 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 blah? And that whole spiel, that whole word track. No, that's okay, Jared. no problem. Please think of me, keep me in mind if that happens. And I do that 3 or 4 or 5 times, right? And then guess what happens a year from now, 6 months from now? Then the bamboo tree showed a little leaf because I didn't give up after the first and second time. And that's what I challenge salespeople on pipelining means, is we're all really good watering it for 3 days. But then we let it die. And then we wonder why we only get 1 or 2 referrals a month. We haven't fertilized it. We haven't watered it. We haven't done everything we can on the pipeline. We have so much downtime. It's not like you guys start from the moment that you get here and you're in front of a customer from the minute you leave. Your daily plan should say pipelining on it and underlined. And you should be dedicating an hour to it every single day. And it won't matter how much inventory we have in our company. Because I have a feeling that if you're a resourceful salesperson, Jared, and you had a customer that bought a car off you 6 months ago, and he said, hey, I need this vehicle, you're gonna find it. And it won't matter how much we have in inventory at this lot because you're so good at pipelining, you're so good at referrals and repeats. So this is a big one, 70% better closing ratio of a repeat or referral because of the intro. So 70% better closing ratio if you've either dealt with them before or they were referred to you by someone. How are we not mastering that? How are we not being like, wow, we got to dedicate way more time on this? Because most of you had mentioned that one of your improved skill set is building rapport and dealing with the customers at the start. So now if we take the things we're good at and start focusing on pipeline, just imagine how much referrals and repeats that we could. And chances are we're all probably doing some of it. But we could have a pretty big bamboo tree on pipeline and referrals and repeats if we really, really dedicated every time to it. So can I challenge everybody to make that a KPI? Because, you know, that's why I'm going around when it gets slow here, is because people need refreshers. This isn't earth-shattering, you've heard this. You can Google on YouTube and say, hey, what are the best salespersons? Not one of them is not going to say pipelining. You can't find an ingredient of a most successful person and not find something about pipelining. They're constantly worried about, constantly focusing on what's next. Not just tomorrow, but next week, a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months to go. And if you guys could spend an hour a day making sure that you were focused on your pipeline, it's going to pay huge dividends. So 30, 60, 90, huh? What about this one? What about this one as far as pipelining? Hey Mike, it's John Kot, happy birthday. I wanted to wish you a happy birthday on your special day today. Have an amazing day. I'm your friendly neighborhood car guy. Everyone knows the Spider-Man stuff. I'm your friendly neighborhood car guy at Buy Direct. Have a great, amazing day. Now, what did we just do? We took our pipeline, KPI, and what else did we take? And you know, if you don't have time, you could just do an intro, even without, I like it personal. But what if it was just, happy birthday. It's your friendly neighborhood car guy here, Mike Ritalik. I just want to wish you an amazing day on your birthday. And if there's anything I can ever do in any of your car needs, you know where to find me. What if that was just a generic intro and you had it set up on your pipelining and your CRM and everything? Because we have all the access now, we can do it, okay? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Don't, no, you can't. Okay, I'm here once every 6 months. Doesn't matter. Okay. Not trying to be aggressive, but like, seriously. Okay. So anyway, guys, this is, you know, the pipeline and going that. Now, as far as the birthday goes, do you think that we're executing at 90% or higher? Because a lot of great ideas are great, but if we're only executing them at 30, 40%, then they're not good. Is everybody doing that at a high level, or is there another level there? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's a big one. And then same with the intros, right? So on the technology is, I say this to all the people, even finance, okay? Every time I'm here, you guys are doing deals where the person taking credit apps, we're doing things from when the person's not in front of me. If I was a finance person or you guys, I'd have an intro, you know. And one of the things I asked Perry to is to drill down and make sure everyone has an intro video. But an intro video is like this. Hi, my name is John Kot. A little bit about myself. I'm going to be taking care of you. So if I'm in finance and someone gave me a credit app, then I'm going to drill down and make sure that I send them my intro meeting, that I'm going to be their financial advisor, and that I'm looking forward to talking to them, reaching out, and I'm going to be taking care of them. If I'm a salesperson, they sent me an internet lead, I'm sending them an intro. I'm going to be looking out for you. You're going to be hearing from me. Please feel reach. I just want to put a face to the name. And yeah, so I'm doing the pipeline. I'm working on this, and plus I'm doing that technology thing. And it's coming, guys. Like, we're not going to have computers in 2 years. We're going to have iPads. All the process will be done online. So, and I said it to a lot of guys, like, get on the boat and start rowing, right? Because if you're not adaptable on technology, it's going to pass you by. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to work in my company. And I'm not trying to threaten anyone. I'm just saying, right? It'll pass you by. I mean, the whole industry is changing. All these other companies are coming in. They're all technology based. I think we're decent. I think we're like probably a 4 out of 10. There's some auto companies that are 1. But we want to get to a 7, 8 out of 10. We want to use our technology a lot more. So, you know, that's a big one. So I talked about pipelines. I talked about referrals. Again, 70% of the people that have either sold a car to or referred to us have a better closing ratio. So again, that Alex or Ovechkin, lining up the hash, he knows he can score goals by having the quickest release and setting himself up right. You want to sell the most cars? You got to get better at this. You got to get better at this. These have to be, when I go around the room 6 months from now and I say, hey, can you tell me something you're best at? I need my entire company, this to be the top 3 for every salesperson and every salesman. I don't need good closers. I don't. That is no longer the ingredient of a sales manager, or GSM, or GM in my company. I don't need that for salesmen. I need someone that's going to be really good at pipeline, masters the referral and repeat in my business, and is the best at social media technology. These 3 things are now the top ingredients I need in my company. Obviously, you can put these together, but these are the KPIs for the sales department. So these are the top 3. Closing deals and how much gross there is on a deal, that's 25 years ago business. Everybody's good at that now. The guys who are really, they have that skill set, and we need it, but now these other 3 are in their toolbox. Okay? Now the last one. What does that one say, Eric?
I believe it says consistency.
Okay, so the top thing about everything we've talked about today, you guys already know of it. I don't think there was anything that I shared with you today that you hadn't heard before. My challenge to everybody is that we have to make it daily. The challenge to everybody is that if we can raise the consistency up, then we're going to get better. Then we're going to get through the next 3-4 months of it being a little bit slower. Because we're focused on the things we control and we're drilling down on the best practices and our KPIs. And then it's going to take care of itself. So that's why I'm making these rounds to all the leadership. And I have lots of things to talk to you guys about how great we've had and how good you are as a team. Like, I like the team here. I think we've had great results. But I'm asking everyone to level up on those 3 things because we're going to get slower. It's going to be December, January, and February. And I need to challenge you guys that you're focused on the right things as, you know, the CEO of the company. Okay? So that's all I have. I want you guys to start at 9. Let's just see what we have. 9:08. So I'm going to finish with going around the room real quick. And I'm going to ask you to give me some takeaways. and just reflect. So Jared, what are some takeaways from today that you think that you can really apply in your work life?
I really think that really calling all my sold customers, going through them and going like, hey, you have any friends that might be looking, like you must show it to friends already.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good thing to do, especially 30, 60 days down the road too.
Okay. Remember the bamboo tree. You're not going to get a referral first and second time. Sometimes it doesn't pay until 6 months later, right? That's the key. That's the thing. Well, I got to keep doing it. Might not get a referral from the first month, not from the second, third month, but all of a sudden 6 months to a year from now, because you kept doing it, then that's when all of a sudden they remember you. Eric?
I've always been strong at following up on my customers.
Yeah.
Always following up and asking for referrals. One thing I'll tell you I'm strong at. It just kind of hit me now sitting here that since I've been doing finance, nothing should change. I'm not making those calls like I used to make. Yeah, it's no different. I need to make those follow-up calls as a finance manager and assume some new business. Do what I was doing before that.
Yeah. All the finance offices they've all come to the meetings, and I challenge them to manufacture more deals. Like, pipelining, the intro videos, all those things. There should be a couple big takeaways for you for your position. Robert?
I'd like to refresh our old stuff. That's really good. One thing I really want to combine is my social media.
Okay. I think when you do it, you actually put out good content. I just don't think you're consistent. We've mastered the delivery videos. Okay. We're good at that. So is everyone else. So is everyone else. Like every dealership in Canada does delivery videos. So welcome to the team, welcome to the herd, okay? Social media isn't about doing the same as everybody else. So I like the fact, don't get me wrong, it's not that I want you to stop doing delivery videos, but if this is your KPI, then start networking. You have lots of friends and family. You have all these type of things. Do they know that you're a car guy? Do they know that you can help them with any type of car things? I said that the other day, when I was selling cars in Weyburn, I had what's called John's Pick of the Week, right? And I used to put my name in front of a car, okay? And every week I picked a different fresh trade, used cars or a different one. And then it went in the weekly newspaper. I went to my boss and said, hey, blah, 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 can you pay for part of it? He did. And then sure enough, one old guy came in and said, hey, is Mr. John Kot here? And I said, yeah, that's me. Meanwhile, he had dealt with another salesman 5 or 6 times. But he asked for me because he's seen that I was promoting myself. Now, you don't need to go in the paper because you have technology. But imagine if everyone had their own picks of the week. What if everyone had, their own image and their own things that they constantly did 3 to 5 times a week? How would that not garner some leads, right? So I really challenge you, Robert, to really not just the delivery pictures, but go out there, put yourself out there, man.
Pretty much just how I start my day, making sure I'm organized and ready to go for the day and planning it out. Definitely focusing on what I'm bad at and not just thinking about what I'm good at. Making sure I focus on that side.
Nice. Mike?
Me as a leader, I think my big struggle, I can always work on is my mindset. I think when I'm feeling great, positive, and feel invincible, everyone else kind of feeds off that. And then the other big thing is social media. Like you're saying, I'm a pretty creative person. I have a ton of ideas, and a lot of times it stops at the idea. I don't see it through because you get busy with so many other things, and you just kind of keep. I have a list that I keep a huge list of stuff to do. Something I've always done at a high level, but I keep moving things to the next list, to the next list, to the next list, and now it's been a month. The same thing isn't done. It's a kind of a large, time-consuming idea to shoot a big video on something that's going to get it out there. Maybe I should just more focus on what I can control, smaller, shorter, because I want people to walk into this dealership and go, okay, this is where Rob and Mike and Ken and Eric and Keith work, because they've seen us so many times on videos, funny, engaging content, not just we sell cars and here's a delivery photo and here's a picture of our pick of the week. Here's like, these guys having fun, these guys making a difference in the community, these guys out there, part of our community, these guys, family business. It's going to make people think, wow,
Yeah.
I always see these posts from these guys,
Yeah.
and now they're marketing for a car, even though we didn't even call them, they know who we are.
Yeah.
And that's going to drive the business.
Yeah, and there's so many that, you know, a lot of the videos, you know, you can do yourself too, right? You know, and that type of thing. And for both the CRM, for the salespeople, the CRM, and the and some of the technologies, if you do need help where you want, you know, Mike's busy and you want 10 or 15 minutes to get set up on some stuff, then you reach out to the marketing department. I've had meetings with them and say, hey, these meetings that I'm doing, salespeople are going to be reaching out to you for help. And it doesn't mean that they're going to do everything for you. It just means that they're going to help you with your plan on technology and social media. Okay? Keith.
Yeah, just focus what you're worst at, I guess.
Yeah.
Focus on it.
Okay, cool. Well, like I said, all my challenge was, you know, to come in here, let you guys know it's all going to be good. You know, we're all going to have we're going to have a challenging 3 months, but we're going to get through it, and then we're going to have a great year, 2022. So, and you know, as the leader in the company, I want everyone to keep improving. I want everyone to keep leveling up. So, I thought I should come around and at least challenge you guys on some things that I think are going to make you successful. Okay.
Appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you.